Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're out here with David and he's actually going to be showing us how and what knots to tie. We're going to be putting braid on our spinning setup for the very first time. I'm going to hand everything over to him. He's going to walk us through the process and then we're going to go try to catch a fish.
When you put on line on a spinning reel, and let's say you're going to use braid, we need some backing to go on the reel seat. Otherwise, the braid will slip when you set the hook or you cast into something. You just tie, like a simple loop knot, put some tension on it, and just reel it in. All right, so here goes the line. Now let's say you got twists going on. Like so, see the twist? What I want to do is I want to flip it over and reel. Still keep tension here. Now it might take a lot to get that out, but we're just using this for backing anyway, so there's a little twist in it, that's fine, okay? And that is enough backing. If you notice, that did get some of the twist out, okay? So if you were filling up the whole reel with fluorocarbon or monofilament and it was really twisting on you, you just flip this over and reel it for that way for a while. Number next, we're gonna put braid on, and TJ did real good by getting some high visibility line because you want to be able to see your line. And braid floats, so it might lay on the water and you see it moving off to one side or going down all of a sudden, and then that way you can immediately know that there's a fish on it, because sometimes you don't feel that bite. The other thing with the high visibility is if you're using green or black braid, on certain days, depending on the light and the way the water is, the reflection of the water, you can't see that line. Now when I connect these two, I don't get fancy. A lot of people tie a uni knot. That's a pain for me. So I just tie an overhand one time, because you're never gonna get down there. And just tie an overhand knot, clip it, and then same thing. Now, one of the benefits of using braid is that braid doesn't twist, so you won't have a lot of twist issues here. Whoa! But the way this thing comes off, I think that line might catch it. I have to be exactly right. There we go. And we're just going to keep reeling, and this will be the main backing, and we'll just kind of fill the spool up almost to the top of the lip, at least for 2 good cast lengths, and then that way this will last years. And if you want to save money, you could run all this out, tie it to a tree, and reverse it. Tie it back onto the backing, reel it up, and use the back end of it. Let's go a little bit more. There we go. The easiest knot to tie that I find is the double Albright. You can look up on YouTube. I'm gonna do it right here for you. Hopefully you can see everything good. But basically what you do is you take fluorocarbon or monofilament and you make a leader so that the line is somewhat invisible to the fish. It's more finessey, and you tie it to the braid. So the knot that I like for the leader line to the braid is the double Albright if you're in a hurry, if you're in the middle of fishing, or if you're just learning how to tie these knots. So you make a loop with the leader line, take the braid, go through it. You gotta remember which way you went through, because you gotta come up the same way. And then you're just gonna wrap it, okay? You're gonna wrap it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Some people will wrap it back, 5 times, but I like to go ahead and do at least 7 if I went 9 times. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hold this end now and wrap it this way, going back to that loop. And there's some good tutorials on YouTube. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now see, we came down through that hole, so now we gotta go back up through the hole, like so. So that when you pull it out, it's gonna cinch down. You wet it a little bit, make sure you don't burn it. Pull it tight, and that's your knot. See how clean that is? We snip close. And the braid part we're going to cut close also. There we go. It might fray a little bit. All right. So that is your knot. I'm going to try and clean that up a little bit. Dang.
This is not very good.
Yeah, you have to get some braid scissors. All right, so how long of a leader do I usually do? I do 2 arm lengths, 1 and 2, and I'll cut it right there. And then we tie on our lure, and there you go. Simple, easy peasy, and that knot will be good for you for a good while. All right, so the knot that I tie for jigs, shaky heads, hooks, the exact name of it is, but you'll have 3 tag ends, and if you look up on YouTube, it's the Gerald Swindle knot. But basically you run your line through and then back through the eye like a polymer, and it's not as incredibly hard to break. So if you have a hook like so, I like just to kind of have that in my pinky, and I'm gonna wrap that loop that I just did 1, 2, 3, 4 times. And then you see that double loop right there? There's like a double loop right there. I'm gonna take that loop, put it through those double loops, and pull it down. Wet it, cinch it, pull everything. All right, not super tight, but just snug. All right, and you have 3 tag ends. Really is a more than 100% knot. I'd like to give you guys couple tips when you take your wife or your children fishing. There's a couple frustrations. Number 1, the frustration is casting. The lure's in the trees, it's in somebody's car. I mean, it's all over the place, right? So before you take them fishing, have some fun. Get some targets in the yard, and you know, Walmart sells these little plastic lure weights and that you can use, or just tie some kind of a bait to cut the hook off, and just have them cast to targets before you go fishing. That really helps out. That's number 1. Number 2, when you buy a rod, now this isn't a Walmart rod, this is a good rod. See how the top 20-30% bends? That's kind of what you want. When you buy a cheap rod, it's more of a parabolic bend, depending on the type of rod it is. But I mean, some rods you want to bend that way depending on the technique. But if you pick up one for your child, usually the whole rod's going to bend. And so what happens is when that child catches the fish, or the fish bites the lure or the worm, and they start reeling, there's no hook set. The rod bends, the bait does not move in the fish's mouth, and you lose the fish. That's frustration number 2. So I want to kind of show you something. All right, if I can have TJ come over and hold this lure. There's a shaky head. All right, I promise I'm not going to hook his hand. But that's the fish's mouth. So he's going to clamp on. That fish comes up and he clamps on. You've got to move that lure through the fish's mouth and take the hook and penetrate the mouth to hook the fish. Well, to do that, there's got to be some movement. I mean, you can't have a bunch of slack. So if you have a real soft rod and cheap line, or let's say monofilament, and you're fishing with a lure like this, what happens is there's way too much stretch. So by putting braid on a spinning reel and having a fluorocarbon or a monofilament leader, you can have much more of a landing percentage, because when you set the hook, there's no stretch to the braid. So when you set that hook, that rod will help drive the hook through the mouth, and that braid will take up for the bend in the rod. Tip number 3 with braid would be you're able to cast much further. And with children, with people that are not used to fishing a lot, you won't have the line twist. If you have fluorocarbon, especially fluorocarbon because it's a stiffer line, and monofilament, that line will twist up on you. You make a bird's nest, and it just makes for a frustrating fishing day. but the braid won't twist on you so much, so that'll help. After you cast, you want to close the bail, lift up on the rod when you start reeling, so there's tension on the line, so that way you don't create that loop. Okay? Last tip is the feel. If you have braid on your line, you will feel so much more, and you'll be able to detect those subtle bites so much better.
Timer's on, dude.
Oops. Does the cast good?
That is.
Easy.
It's so much smoother than... Oh my gosh.
That's alright. Let me just kind of through. I don't want to take over.
Yeah, no, you do your thing, dude. I just don't want to get hit with the... Here, I'll trade you.
Thank you. Alright. There we go. Alright, now if you notice, we got it hung up in a tree, but the knot did not break.
Nice.
It broke down there, which
Okay.
is what you want.
So we can just tie on another shaky head.
Yeah. Got this hung up in a tree, and the connecting knot did not break. It was the knot down on the jig head, which is what you want. You don't want that knot to break, so that was good. Do you feel stuff on the bottom?
I did over here, yeah.
Oh, did he come off?
Yeah, I don't...
Good cast. So your other two main targets is going to be against the thicker stuff on this side and that shady spot right there. So that's kind of washed out.
I think I can hit the shady spot pretty easily.
Okay.
I'm still scared about hitting the tree again over here.
Yeah.
Got scared. I'll throw it back in there. Yeah, I can feel the bottom really well right there.
Oh, good. Good.
Feels like sticks. I can get under there.
Yeah.
No, it came
Oh. Oh. Yeah, I saw that.
dude.
Yeah, when me and Mercy came here, and I posted that video of me and her fishing. Ooh, yeah. Oh, you hung. Oh, man.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Okay.
but you want to do it a lot. Oh, that was good because you was against some wood. That's what you want. You want it. If he's there, he should be right in that stuff. So when you come up against it, just leave it, because a lot of times, if they're not feeding, they're territorial. So they want it out of their area. So they'll bite it because of that.
Okay.
You know, so when you come against something, just don't be in a rush to get it out of there.
So he'll like try to eat it or move it?
Yeah, he'll move it, but he can only move it with his mouth.
Right.
So I forgot my phone, went back up to the picnic table up here where we're at, and on the way back up there was a game warden that came past me. What's going on down here? TJ's fishing. I hope he's got his license with him. Yeah, buddy. I don't see him down here. Well, that's good. No, he's here. Go slow. We got our YouTube video, our video channel, so we're right here playing.
Are you rolling right now?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
You want to stop it or?
No, you're fine. I was making sure you had a freshwater license, that's all.
Yeah, you want to see it? Let's stop. Here, I'll
I'll hold you right, or can I
Yeah.
do that?
I'll be out of your way in
No, you're
5 seconds.
good. No worries. You having a good day?
Yeah, just kind of riding around, checking to see what's going on. So. Yep. Freshwater license good till 9:21. You're fine, man. You're good to go. I appreciate it. Well, y'all enjoy your afternoon.
All right, buddy.
All right,
Be safe.
take care.
Dude, you know what? Today's just not our day.
It's not.